Hello, today I'm going to talk about John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, who was born in Bloemfontein, South Africa in 1892. When he was 3, they moved to England after his father died. He was raised loving nature, especially trees and plants. Besides botany, he had another passion, philology and learning languages. He achieved to study in Oxford. Then he was sent to France to fight in the First World War, but he contracted trench fever, so they sent him back to England. He never went back to France because he got a job in Oxford, then in Leeds, and back again in Oxford, where he specialized in medieval times. In that time span, he had 4 children with his wife Edith. He had the great idea to entertain his children, making use of his writing skills. This is how Tolkien began the creation of a personal mythology inspired by the Arthurian saga and the Anglo-Saxon medieval epic, full of fantasy elements and imaginary beings and worlds. This special work was The Hobbit, which was born in 1937 and is about the vicissitudes of a peaceful and sensible people who live in a world called Middle-earth, along with elves, goblins, and wizards. Soon it was published, gaining so much recognition and being a success that he was requested to write a continuation, and after 12 years of work, one of the greatest fantasy novels was published, The Lord of the Rings, divided into 3 volumes, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. This way, his books became cult books and gave rise to a rising genre, high fantasy. His intellectual enjoyment of ancient languages is very important. He knew Greek, Anglo-Saxon, Middle English, Welsh, Gothic, Finnish, Old Icelandic, Old Norwegian, and Old High German. This is how he created sounds and invented languages, following a rigorously philological method and using those languages in his works. The Silmarillion is actually Tolkien's first book and also his last. It precedes even The Hobbit, and is the story of the first age of Tolkien's Middle-earth. It shows us the ancient history to which characters in The Lord of the Rings look back, talk, rhyme, and sing about. Then, as I said before, we have The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, what made his style unique and popular? Tolkien recognized that to create a believable world, he had to fill it with its own geography, history, languages, genealogies, calendars, and peoples. He had the power to create a secondary world that was impressive and immersive. He also invented his own languages to go with it, and then his own alphabets in which to write those languages. Tolkien's work resonated with people from generation to generation. In his essay on fairy stories, Tolkien coined a term that has enabled a deeper understanding of what makes fairy stories so attractive and powerful. The term is eucatastrophe and consists of the Greek prefix eu, meaning good, and the word catastrophe, meaning catastrophe. It is tempting to define this term by resorting to a more familiar phrase like happily ever after or simply happy ending. But Tolkien does not quite allow us to get away with this. Eucatastrophe refers not to the ending of a fairy story in and of itself, but to the sudden joyous turn leading to the happy ending. Eucatastrophe is a sudden and miraculous grace, never to be counted on to recur.